Everybody, it is Thursday again, Thursday the 7th, according to my whiteboard calendar. How is everybody doing? We have got, let's see, what do we have this week? We just dropped our latest episode in which Nate and I do a lot of back and forth chatter about stuff. It's funny because when Nate was traveling for a while, and like we talk. I mean, obviously we record the podcast, right? So we talk at least an hour a week, sometimes two. We recorded another episode today for a bonus episode. So we talk a lot, and it's just kind of funny. A guy that I've literally never met face to face, and he and I have never occupied the same state at the same time. But yet, it's just weird how friendship is like now in the age of the internet. Like a guy who, like I said, never met him in real life, but I see him. I talk to him so much. So we shot the shit for a little bit, and then we discussed recruiting retention problems again with the military. And then today, the bonus episode that we recorded was I went and saw Rambo 5, Rambo Last Blood. I went and subjected myself to that. So we talk about the Rambo franchise because Rambo 5 is so radically different than like Rambo 1, 2, and 3. And I had never seen 4, so I went and watched 4. But Rambo 4 and 5 are very similar in like that they're this weird like blood-soaked kind of like, in 2 and 3 it's explosions and it's violence and whatnot, but it's fun, it's cartoonish. Like 4 and 5 it's very visceral and kind of, I don't want to say gross because I'm not opposed to gore. I don't seek it out. I don't watch, horror movies with gore in it. But it doesn't bother me. But that's just not what I expect out of a Rambo movie. I don't expect it to be some kind of attempt at being a horror movie for whatever reason. So, yeah, we talked about that, and we discussed that for a good hour. And I also have an article coming out. So if you're not going to watch, if you don't have the premium stuff on the podcast, I do have like an article coming out for Task and Purpose about it. It breaks down everything. Breaks down like the Rambos 1 through 5, how they're like different five movies, 3 different kinds of movie in 2 different eras, and a post and a pre 9/11 era, and just like what horror movies or what action movies are now, and like can you really take what you're trying to do with action movies now in 2000, in the 2010s, can you get an action movie like that but then put Rambo in it? And the answer is no. But yet somehow that movie made money. It cost like $40 million to make it, and it made $80 million domestically and overseas. So, what do I know? Maybe people fucking just love to see Rambo. So we've got that coming. That's going to be the bonus next week. Need to get some other bonuses up and running, and we've got the zine coming up too. Just put in an order of stickers and an order of patches for people on the zine. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, that is patreon.com/hellofawaytodie. The $10 one gets you a physical zine and gets you all the goodies that kind of get thrown into it. The patch that we have created will be for sale later. Should have another thing of patches coming in this week. I've been waiting forever. I swear that one. I have like some online companies that I do, that I order patches through, and they're all about like roughly the same price. They get the same quality. They get them to you at the same, reasonable amount of time. So I've always, and I wanted to start using something local, so I found like a local company, and I sent them the design, and it was basically just the medic patch, but for corpsmen. So it says Motrin, water. And then it's the corpsman insignia in the middle. Now anywhere else, I order 150 of those, 200 of those. I'll get them for about $300, and I'll get them in, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so, depending. And amounts that you get more. It's cheaper, per unit and everything. But man, this one's been like, a couple of weeks. Like, well, I'm sorry, like it's been like 7 weeks at this point, and I think like it's like what I went with them because they're like, well, they're a little bit, they're a little bit cheaper and they're local and they're like down the street and like maybe I can go, create a rapport and have, these are my guys. I go to them. They're down the street. And then this happens, and I'm fairly sure that they're coming from like a sweatshop in China. So enjoy those if you pick those up. Perfect for the Marines, I guess. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be using them. And we're going to see, man, because I don't know, the proof they sent me was also kind of iffy quality-wise. So anyway, that's the back end of my being a small business owner and whatnot, the small business tyrant that I am. But just got this. Whoop, my light just moved on me. Anyway, Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. I have never actually read a Noam Chomsky book, and I figured it's about time for me to get into that little thing called theory that leftists keep banging on about. I'm not going to read Das Kapital because it's really long. I've read most of Communist Manifesto. This isn't to say that I don't read books. I read books. It's just like, I don't read political books, even ones that are just like politically 100% what I'm all about. It's still just like, Jesus fucking Christ, I get it. We don't like the bourgeoisie. Can we move on with it, though? Can we overthrow it and go about our lives? Not have to read 800 pages. I'm going to get yelled at by somebody for denigrating reading long books by 1800 era Germans. But this one is a powerful assessment of how the U.S. mass media failed to provide the kind of information that we need to understand the world. Now, you would think that this is about, the mass media pushing Donald Trump to the beginning of everything, but this was published in 1988. So this has been a problem for a while, actually, where the mass media fucking sucks, and I don't want to say you can't trust them, as in like they're gonna, break into your house and steal your TV. But also, I wouldn't necessarily. I would take everything they say with a little grain of salt sometimes. I'm just putting that out there. But yeah, looking forward to it. After this, I'm gonna need a popcorn book. I'm gonna need something. I've been wanting to reread It by Stephen King. I didn't watch I watched the first of the new ones. I watched the first one, and it was, I don't know, it was more, they really harped on the horror and not the characters. So I was like, I wasn't that into it. It's not like the miniseries was with what's his name. I can see him. I can't. The guy who played Pennywise, who was, of course, the only other movie I can think of right now is Muppet Treasure Island, where he plays Long John Silver. Go ahead, look it up, find it up. This is a Jeopardy question if you're not already screaming the name of him at me. It's been a long week, man. It's been a long week. So we got the book. What else is going on? Oh, Veterans Day is coming up. I will probably be deactivated from Twitter, as I generally do on Veterans Day and Memorial Day, because I just don't want to hear it. I just don't want to see it. I don't like being a part of it. Now, when I say I don't like being a part of it, what I mean is that, like, I don't like to do the whole, being up in front and people thanking me for my service or any of that. What I do like to do, though, is go to the casino and get free buffet that morning, which I will be doing 100% with my brother and my wife and my kid. Got a lot of, look, there's a lot of sales going on out there, and I will absolutely sign up for something using my my .mil account email to get 15% off when I order a Dell gaming laptop, which I did today too. So, like, that's how I celebrate, is through consumerism. Considering that the computer that I'm on right now has components in it that are 10 years old. Now, granted, it's a tower computer, and I built it top of the line 10 years ago, so it's going strong. I think I've upgraded the power supply unit and the graphic card in it, but still goes strong. It makes loud noises though, and it's a desktop. Man, I can't take that anywhere. I can't like lift that up and go on the road with it or anything. So ordered a new gaming laptop so I can you know, be a fucking 36-year-old dad who's playing BioShock for fucking podcast content. That one's coming up at some point too. I'm playing BioShock, which is a game I never finished because I have a fear of drowning and I don't like horror. And guess what that is? It's a horror game with a lot of drowning that could actually happen to you. And it's not like a horror game like, like some survival game, obviously, if you've never played BioShock. It's, a first-person shooter, but there's a lot of horror going on to it. I really enjoyed BioShock Infinite, though. Like, I played that when that came out. Loved that game. So looking forward to actually rotating back up to that one again. I didn't spend a whole lot of money on a gaming computer. I haven't bought myself a computer since I built this one. Honestly, like all the other ones have been hand-me-downs or ones that I've rebuilt, or the laptop that I use is actually military issued. We got work laptops, but they're not really mine, and I can't install whatever I want on them. So this is the first time I've actually dropped a chunk of money on it. Now that I'm writing for Tasking Purpose again, if you haven't seen that, I actually have a little extra revenue. So all that money is going right to the computer fund, paying off the credit card that I put that on. It's like, take that money, just put it right on over there. So yeah, and that is the other thing. I did start writing again. I recently had something published about Millennium Challenge 2002. MC2002 is a I have Angry Birds, and that's it. I have an old APK of Flappy Bird. I'm the last person that has one. So yeah, I wrote a thing about Millennium Challenge 2002, in which it was basically a giant war game in the Gulf that had a lot of Navy and a lot of air and ground and everything like that. And the plan was that they were gonna, they weren't saying that we're training to take on Iraq/Iran, but that's exactly what it was. And then the military, the U.S. Army, kept in these war games. They put like this Marine general named General Ripper in charge of the oppositional forces, and the oppositional forces just fucking swept and sunk the fleet in 20 minutes using suicide boats. And they were like, no, you can't do that. And then they refloated the fleet and went and like, no, you can't use those suicide boats. That's cheating. It's not as bad as that. That people like to bring that part of it up, but the thing is, they're like, wow, okay, so we need to be prepared for suicide boats. That's something that we didn't consider. Okay, notionally refloat the fleet. You can't use those because now we assume that we have a thing that can now fight against that, and we do. And it's funny because what we do is on a aircraft carrier. What you do is you take a Marine LAV, which is a wheeled vehicle, and you just park it on the deck, and you point the gun down in the water. And you would think, like, why wouldn't they have? Shouldn't an aircraft carrier have something like this? And like, yes and no. Like, an aircraft carrier by itself does not have that many weapons on it. Aircraft carriers are surrounded by all kinds of other ships that are taking care of the battle cruisers and the I know that the gunboats. I assume I'm not in the Navy. I don't know what the fuck they call all of them. But they're usually surrounded. But you gotta have something like on there. So they're like, yeah, just put a LAV up there. Just drive it on up and point the big 30mm cannon down in the water. And if the motherfuckers come out, just shoot them. So, yeah, it's a lot about like learning from war games and the ways that like what do you learn from a stacked deck versus what should we have been training for, what are the lessons that we learned versus what could we have learned if we had done things differently. It's a deep dive into a bit of military history that I wasn't expecting to find out so much about. So I wrote that's up on Tasking Purpose. And like I said, I've got the Rambo piece. I've got a couple of other things coming. Got some more lighthearted stuff coming. Glad to be back at it. I believe Joe is going to be getting writers too for a project he has, Joe Kasabian, Over the Lines Led by Donkeys. I still always need people writing for the zine. So if you want to write for the zine, you get you get all the care package for free yourself. If you write something and send it in, you can always contact me on Twitter at ArmyStrang here, or you can email sergeantjoker@hellofawaytodie.com. 500 to 750 words. It's this time around it's about work. I've got one submission. I've got my own submission. I've got like 3 people I'm going to start bugging it about after this weekend. Start poking, just be like, what the fuck the shit you said that you would send me. So that's our Thursday. That's really all that we've got going on. It's a lot. I think I did a live last week. I don't know. Things have been really blending together. We took the house never did sell. We took it off the market. We've got some touch-ups that we're going to do. We're going to turn some things around. Then after the new year, put it back up on the market, and hopefully it's going to fly off then. Because the new house, still can't move into it because I got a contractor in there. It's a thing. So it's whatever. I'm just glad to have everything up and running. Remember, you can always pick up the patches at hellofawaytodie.com. There's only a couple patches out there, but the goal is to to start with every other month and then every month just have something, have new patches, because people love that shit. And it's a lot easier to make those and maintain those than it is to do a racist coffee company or a racist t-shirt company. I've decided to do the non-racist patch company and magnets and stickers too. So look forward to that. Look forward to talking to you all next week, and we'll see you later.